Hello and welcome back. This is the second part of our lesson. So on the former video, we were able to discuss about negative freedom. Actually, our lesson is leading towards existentialism. So that's why we really have to understand the underlying concepts between negative freedom and positive freedom. So here we are now on the second part of our video, and I will do my best to inculcate to you the underlying principles on this positive freedom thing that we have in here. All right. So, mababasa nyo dito in quotation, it is being said in here, I am my own master. Diba? Yun din yung tinatawag nating positive liberty. So, baka malito kayo. Sa negative freedom, as what we discussed on the former video, sabi doon, that is the type of freedom in which you are not being restricted, di ba? In constraint. Diba? You are not being coerced, that's the term, by others or any form of, let's say, a government, something, a belief, a religion, might as well. Diba? It means that you are free to do anything and everything that you can then. Wherein, in comparison, just to take it into simplest form, yung positive freedom naman, it simply connotates that you are, and you are the only one who is responsible and who is able to control yourself at all, di ba? Kaya nga, I am my own master. Utos mo, gawa mo. Yun. So if you tell yourself, you have to strive hard, you have to work hard to achieve this kind of things, only you then can help yourself upon that. Diba? So it's like you set your own limitations and you set your own boundaries. So we will find out more about that on our next slide. So it is being said in here on our next slide that by therefore, if a positive freedom denotes to someone who is free or like he possesses the freedom to have the control or mastery of herself or himself and who has the strength to do what is good. Diba? Tatandaan nyo yung keyword dito, has the strength to do what is good. So, wag na wag kayong malilito on these two contrasting, di ba? I'm not saying two opposite. Itong two contrasting details ng positive and negative freedom. Sa positive freedom, it shares the same concept that you are actually free. Di ba? You are free and has the control over your mastery of yourself. But simple concept goes like this. Sa tingin nyo, if all of us will embrace this kind of, let's say, absolute concept then, kung yun lang susundin natin, would it be fair enough to tell that everyone would attain the same things at the same level? Diba? Halimbawa, each and every student who goes at school, each and every employee who goes at work, do you think by virtue that they have the ability, diba? Kasi, come to think of it, let's be practical. Pinoy, isa lang naman kinakain yan. Ang pinaka-staple food niyang kanin. Kanin yung kinakain ng student A, kanin din yung kinakain ng student B, iba-iba lang yung ulam. Diba? But would it define, given that you are being supplied, or let's say you have the same level of, let's say, social status, would it define that you would perform at the same level at the same time? I don't think so. Ba? Like for employees, you are all given 8 hours to work straight in a day or night. But would it suffice the fact that some of them are performing better than the others? Di ba? Kaya nga tayo may awarding, may ranking, my best employee or kung whatever award is that being given to a certain company. Diba? Because it undermines the fact and figure that we all are performing at a different rate, given that biologically, diba, and ideally, we're all consist of same molecules. Diba? But then, it really depends on the control or mastery of yourself. So ito yung pinaka-difference ng positive freedom sa negative freedom is the management and the control of self of the individual towards what? It's not toward others, it's toward yourself. Diba? Kaya sa isang class, from a university rather, like for example, iilan lang dyan ang pwedeng magkaroon ng highest honor, di ba? Mga tinatawag natin may Latin honors. Diba? May mga tinatawag nating may Latin awards, mga tinatawag nating mga nagmamagna, summa, cum laude, whatsoever, diba? Nagdi-dean's lister. Not all of students will take advantage of that. Why? Because there is a selection process. Kaya nga may selection process. Bakit? It acknowledges the fact, diba? It acknowledges the fact that somehow you are performing at a different rate. Diba? Kaya I don't believe that giving the award best in something, best in here and that is disadvantage and discouraging for someone else. That part, diba? If you are that kind of a person na nagtataas ng kilay just because others are having awards, well, you don't deserve to be happy to yourself at all. Bakit? Palaging may inggit. Yan, diba? Remember, in the positive freedom, you have full control of yourself then. Sabihin natin lahat tayo may control sa sarili natin. Diba? You have to ask yourself, how well do you do it? Especially sa mga working class, diba? Yung mga nagtatrabaho na dito, you can tell that, diba? How well do you manage your finances? Diba? How well do you manage your home? Yung iba dyan, planchadong uniforme, ang gaganda ng sapatos. They go to the office as if like they are on top of the world. Diba? Pag binisita mo sa bahay, kalat-kalat yung kusina. Diba? Sasakyan niya, di malinis. Diba? They miss out every single opportunity na basic on their end. Why? Because somehow, by the concept that we are very time limited and we must be time bounded, you have to let other obligations go and focus on some things that really matters for you. Diba? Yung tinatawag nating control. Diba? Yung tinatawag nating priorities. Diba? Kaya ako, I do not judge those people. I've met someone. They really don't mind at all if they don't own. But they don't own like a large property or somehow. Meron lang silang bahay sa province. But here in Batangas and when they are traveling to Quezon, nagra-rent sila. Bakit? Ang nature ng trabaho nila ay palipat-lipat. So it's impractical for them to find a permanent home in a place kung lilipat ka na naman the next 5 months. So para sa iba, that's a kind of necessity priority. Para sa kanila naman, ang necessity at priority ay sariling sasakyan. Bakit? It almost serves as their home, di ba? Living VR nila, living van nila yan. RV kung tawagin ng iba, recreational vehicle. So you have these different levels of, let's say, giving importance to certain matters. Yung iba, they invest their money in what? Possibly on some, let's say, passive income generating projects. Yung iba naman, they proactively use their money on tedious and laborious tasks para maparami nila. Why? Because they have the control over it. Diba? Kaya you cannot blame someone na you're telling them, bakit ka nagpapagod dyan? Diba? Bakit ka nagde-deliver ng bigas? Tinda mo na lang online. Why? If it works out best with them, well, that's fine. Di ba? Parang sa aming teacher din yan. Bakit mo pinagtsatsagang kausapin yan? Why do you take your time replying to those kind of questions? Because if that works out best with that kind of person either, well, you have to adjust with them. Diba? Ikaw ang mas nakakaintindi. Well, that is a kind of freedom which is very hard to, let's say, wholeheartedly embrace and to live by. Diba? Madali lang sabihin that you are practicing a positive freedom in itself, in you. Diba? But then to ask yourself, look at yourself, diba? Even me, sometimes I'm asking myself, diba, at my downest moment, diba? Minsan sinasabi ko sa sarili ko, tanda-tanda ko na, ito lang yung savings ko. Minsan wala. Oh, that's the reality. Diba? And you have nothing to be ashamed of it. Lahat pinagdaanan. All of us somehow will experience being broke at somewhat part of their life. Diba? We are an economical being, sabi ko nga sa inyo. Kahit sino ba dito hindi kumakain? Diba? Hindi gumagastos. And if you do not possess that great control or mastery to yourself, you can never reach your goal then. Diba? Tandaan nyo. The very essence of freedom itself is for you to be able to freely do what you want because you have a goal. Diba? You have an aim. Hindi ako naniniwalang may taong walang goal. Diba? Maybe they are just ashamed of themselves. Bakit? Kasi by that time, nahihiya sila mag-share. Diba? Nakakaya nga naman. Wala ka namang ginagawa sa sarili mo. Diba? Tapos, gusto mong maging business owner. So, parang mahirap paniwalaan yun. Diba? It would not justify the possibility and probability of it, of happening. Diba? Sabi ko nga, for something to become probable, it must be possible at first. Diba? Hindi magkakaroon ng chance of success if you do not initiate one. Okay, so learning from it then, also consider this next slide then. So nakasulat dito, positive liberty. Diba? It's all about self-control then, diba? How goal-driven are you? Diba? Uulitin ko basahin. How goal-driven are you? Diba? And on the second question, these are the types of questions you must ask yourself then. How do you base your actions on expectations? Or do you always base your actions over your expectations? Or rather on expectations of others? Because if you do so, mag-isip-isip ka na, are you really free then? Diba? You want to look like this because others are expecting you to do so. Diba? Gusto mo maging Koreana kasi na-found out mo na mas marami kang heart react pag mukha kang Koreana sa social media. Diba? You spend each and every dime. You spend each and every piece of your penny, di ba? Working on something which is not essential in your life in the first place. Bakit? Kung hindi mo naman main source of income yon, what is the point of doing that, di ba? For leisure, for glamour, or is it just because of you being delighted to see that others are praising you one way or another, di ba? Para sa iyo, intrinsic motivation yun. Intrinsic motivation. It makes you feel like you're making others feel happy on what you're doing. Diba? Kaya pag sinabi nila, nag-live ka, magkaldag ka, kakaldag ka rin. Because you're making them happy. And that feeling that makes you popular. Diba? Ask yourself again, is that how goal-driven you are? Diba? Meron nga tayo dyan sikat na social media personality. Diba? To the point nakakain siya ng tahi ng pusa. But look at him now. Is he still doing the same thing? No. Ginamit niya lang yun, stepping stone, di ba, to gain attention. But then, when he comes to the point, he have this and that. When he had the chance to change the kind of content that he would be bringing, di ba? I can say, medyo nagtino-tino na. Last ko nakita, kumakain ng sisiw eh. Yan. But then comparing it to the previous things that drives him to do something which would delight others. Diba? Lalo sa mga Pilipino yan. Gustong-gusto yan ng mga Pilipino. Diba? Pag sinabi nila, Lodi, sayaw ka naman, magsasayaw naman. Diba? Is that what you call freedom of expression? Would it justify that you are delivering freedom of expression? Diba? When they say jump, sasabihin mo, hawa high. O gano'ng kataas, tatalunin ko. What do you expect out from yourself? Diba? Minsan nga sabi ko sa Medlit, look at those person you are looking upon, especially in the social media. Diba? And I am very sad to say the fact that 80% of your gained knowledge, kayong mga teenager kayo, is nanggagaling through social media. Why? That's the foremost place that you can go to freely, and that is the most accessible thing on earth right now for you. Diba? That is your main source of information. It makes you even feel like you are more knowledgeable over others, diba? Especially when it comes to politics nowadays, diba? Pinag-uusapan nila. Ang daming bida-bida dyan. Mga pinanganak naman kayo, 2001, 2002, 1999. Anong alam nyo during that regime? Diba? You feel like you are entitled to tell that because everyone else is saying it, diba? Remember, a lie being told 1,000 or million times becomes eventually the truth. Kapag paulit-ulit na pinaniwalaan ng tao ang kasinungalingan, it eventually becomes the truth. Anong basis nyo? History. History is being written by victors. Open your minds. Diba? Kahit sa Christian living nung tinuturo ko, the Bible itself was revised by many popes. Bakit? Yung mga gusto lang nilang characters, saka mga verses ang ilalagay nila. Why? That is to keep all of the people from liberating themselves. Diba? So asan yung freedom doon if you are being enclosed in that box? If you are always basing your actions, di ba? Kapag palagi, although I am not saying that this is bad, kapag palagi mong sasabihin, kasi yan ho ang sabi ng holy book namin. Kasi yan ho yung sabi ng high priest namin. Di ba? Kasi yan ho yung sabi ni mama. I'm not telling you not to follow commands from your parents, but still, try to weigh things, diba? The only person who can determine if a thing is worth doing is you yourself, diba? You are the only person, rather, who can liberate yourselves, diba? Sabi nga ni Bob Marley, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. No one but us can free our minds. Diba? So always live up to that concept. So moving forward then to this next slide, let us find out more about this type of philosophy then on freedom. Okay. So we come to a part where the positive liberty meets its flaws. Yan. Ito yung tinatawag natin sa sa psychology or sa, let's say, sa educational philosophy. na intelligent quotients and emotional quotients, di ba? It's the reason over emotion in layman's term. Para mas madaling intindihan. Di ba? Now, basing from the question itself, what we have in here below, how do you base your judgments? But how do you cast your judgments? Paano ka nagpo-formulate ng instant na sasabihin mo? Diba? Because verbally, orally, when you are in argument with someone, when you are justifying something, you just base your judgment over that time, diba? On that standpoint that you are in. But that very moment na nandiyan ka, that is the time that you would start talking. Now, how do you base your judgments? Diba? So basically, that is by reason or either by emotion. Diba? So our reasoning side, that is our side which will either continuously defend our thought or continuously, let's say, degrade others' idea. Sa emotional factor naman, ng sound judgment nyo, that is when you are being inspired, you are being triggered, diba? You are being provoked by something or somehow by anything which you do believe is not righteous at the moment. Diba? Emotional factor. Ulitin ko yung sinabi ko kanina. It's when people do not listen to each other, it's when they start to shout. Diba? Nagkakaroon na ng emotional burst outs and the reason is gone. Sometimes naman, you exercise too much reasoning, di ba? Yung mga illogical na bagay, ginagawa mo pan logical. You don't even care how others feel. It's when the reasoning tops over the emotional factor. Diba? You forget to become a human. Nakalimutan mong may damdamin din yung kausap mo, banat ka ng banat. May sakit pala sa puso, inatake na. Why? It's because you're insisting your reason, di ba? Remember, even when it comes to the point that you are on the correct standpoint, even if tama ka, lahat sila mali. Diba? A good argument should be delivered in the right place, in the right time, and with the right manner. Diba? Proper timing. Huwag sugod ng sugod. Kasi you'll never know. Diba? It might destroy something which you build up for a long time. Diba? Relationship with your friends, family, diba? Your co-workers, mga colleagues mo, your business partners. Diba? Somehow, I do believe, wala namang mawawala if you have a small talk. Diba? Magkape kayo. Diba? Or have a small talk. Diba? Over a pint of wine. Diba? Mag-inom kayo. You talk about ideas. Diba? Not about people's emotions. That is the time when you talk about being straightforward, honest with someone else. Diba? And with the emotional factor itself, wala pong mawawala if we stay humble. Diba? I will repeat, it will not make you lesser of a good person if you stay humble. Even if you are correct at that certain point of argument. Diba? The point is, kung tama ka naman, edi tama ka. If your listeners are smart listeners, you don't have to prove yourself with them. Tama ka nga eh. Diba? Sometimes, that is the point where silence can be the best answer. If someone has a bragging right to do so, if someone is like too much of a fuel to handle, di ba? They can't hold their horses, kumbaga. Banat ng banat. Sige, let them talk until they get tired. Diba? That is one very practical advisement which I practice with myself, di ba? Ako, when someone else is in argument with me, in the office or at work, or even not at work, di ba? Kahit sa labas lang, I see to it to the point that I listen to them, of course, wholeheartedly. But when the time comes na I have to make a decision, di ba? I have to take a lead kasi ako yung pinagkatiwalaan. That is the time that I will insist that I am the authority over that kind of person during that time. Diba? Ganun lang naman yun. So, it's a matter of balancing everything then. Diba? Mixture of these two. Diba? Hindi mawawala yan. Walang taong nagde-decision wholly by reason itself. Wala rin taong nagde-decision wholly because of the emotion itself. Diba? There is a bit of everything in there, but the whole point in this one is that maintaining a good balance among these two factors is a very great thing to do whenever you cast your, let's say, judgment or decision making. Okay, so let's move forward then. The next slide. So, on the last slide that we have in here for the positive freedom, take note of this, everyone. That positive freedom is not just about the absence of coercion or interference. It is the freedom from coercion itself or interference for one to do good. Uulitin ko, for one to do good. Why am I saying that? Always remember, yung freedom na tinatamasa nyo ngayon, whatever freedom it is, in any form, diba? Including your freedom of expression or freedom of speech, it comes with a responsibility. Diba? It comes with a very big responsibility. And you cannot just simply tell me, diba? Tell over my face that you can literally do what you want, because that is your right, that is your freedom. That's purely nonsense. Diba? Remember, especially if you're a Filipino citizen, you are under the cloak of the preamble of the Philippines. Diba? And no one is above the law for that matter. Especially in the social media nowadays. Okay, you have to be aware of these existing laws and regulations, diba? Lalo na yung tinatawag nating Safe Spaces Act. Diba? That is freedom for coercion or interference for one to do good. That's the reason why a certain law is being passed to protect others, especially not only on their daily physical lives, but also on the digital platform. Diba? It would not justify you posting any kind of matter. Let's say it's your account, it's your picture or whatever. The whole point is, diba? Mark my word, the whole world really don't care. Diba? Walang pakialam ang mundo. Kung kumain ka ng fries na may milk tea, mamayday mo pa. Diba? Tapos, sasabayin mo ng post ng may SPG na content. Diba? The whole world doesn't care about it. But take note, hindi lang ikaw ang tao sa platform na yan. Diba? May mga bata dyan. Oh. Hindi lang ikaw ang audience dyan. And you cannot just tell everyone, I don't care, edi skip nila pag ayaw nila. No, it doesn't work that way. Diba? Ikaw ba, morally, diba? I know somehow, di ba? Bato-bato sa langit yan, yung mga tamaan dyan, edi sorry. Somehow, you cannot just justify that it's your account, it's your doing, it's your data. No, it doesn't work that way. Tapos pag nabastos ka, magagalit. Oh. Very common yun yan. Pag nabastos, magagalit. Pag may nag-reply sa kanyang nag-disagree, magagalit. Why? There had been a presence of coercion. Diba? Kasi clashing of ideas yan, clashing of minds. But if you promote nudity, hindi lahat ng tao promotes nudity at that point of time. Diba? If you promote this kind of, let's say, this is something very common, I'm very sorry to say. If you promote this certain religion, di ba, you are not entitled to even post something on your company's group chat or your class's group chat, di ba? Tapos sasabihin mo for sharing. Oh. Even those kind of stuff, they have limitations. Diba? So freedom itself, diba, has limitations. Sabihin mo mang may positive freedom at negative freedom, you are bound to those limitations. Why? You are in the 21st century, my friend. We are all working under state laws, specific laws, and we have to follow community guidelines and regulations, even in the digital platform. So, if you are not very much familiar with that, you have to be. Yan. Saan mo makikita? Magbasa ka. Oh, community guideline policies, di ba? Hindi yung puro I accept. Educate yourself for once. Di ba? And that would be the end of our topic for positive freedom. So we look forward for the third part and the last part. This is a very, let's say, life-changing topic, existentialism. So you do have a great day and stay safe.